Fans of books, movies, television, comics, and every other form of storytelling have had the same argument since forever. Which character is the best? That argument will never be settled, but Mangaka is a fun game that lets you play it out with your friends. For this video, we're using a mixture of old playtest cards and some cards printed from designs still in production. What you're seeing is not the final card design. A base set of Mangaka can be played by 2 to 6 players. You need the game deck, 2 6-sided dice, and some way of keeping score, like paper and pen. Each player gets a character card. This is the character they're going to play as for the whole game. The unused characters are set aside. Each player then gets a starting hand. Before the game begins, they put any plot cards they drew in that starting hand into the middle of the table. This is the storyboard. Players may put plots into the storyboard at any time and draw replacement cards for them. Once the starting storyboard is built, the game begins. A player begins their turn by drawing 1 card. They then choose a plot, either from the storyboard or from their hand, and play it, declaring their intent to attempt it. Players may only attempt 1 plot per turn. Once the plot is played, all players may play complication cards to change the conditions of the attempt, making it easier or harder, more or less valuable, or doing really strange things to it. Once all complications are played, the player attempting the plot rolls both dice. If the dice roll, plus the player's character power and bonuses, is higher than the difficulty of the plot, the player completes the plot and scores the points for the plot. Otherwise, the player fails the plot and suffers the penalties, which might be nothing, might be the loss of a life, or might be other things. Failed plots go into the storyboard. Completed plots are tucked under the player's character card with title and bonuses showing. Plots which give you fewer points give your character bonuses towards die rolls or more cards in your hand, which means even an easy 10-point plot may be worth fighting over. Once the plot is resolved and all cards for the round have been played, the player discards plots from the storyboard until there are no more than 9 cards there. Then all players refill their hand and play passes to the next player. Certain plot cards are fights. With these plots, instead of rolling against a difficulty level, 2 players roll against one another. The player attempting the fight plot chooses another player, and each player rolls a single die. The winner gains a few points, but the loser usually loses a life, and whatever weapon they may have in play. Each player gets a character card at the start of the game. Each character has a number of lives, a base power which gets added to all rolls, and special bonuses for epic plots, silly plots, or personal plots. Some characters also get bonuses each time a certain keyword appears on a plot they're attempting or a weapon they're using. Some characters also have a special ability unique to that character. Plot cards are what get you points. Some plots, but not all, are epic plots, silly plots, or personal plots, which means certain characters may find it easier or harder to complete those plots. Most plots have a base difficulty number, which players' rolls have to beat. All plot cards also list what happens if a player succeeds or fails at the plot. Some plots also have keywords, which can give certain characters bonuses to beat the plot. Finally, the less points a plot is worth, the more likely it will give a bonus to a character's power or some other permanent benefit once won. Fight plots don't have a difficulty number. Instead, the winner is the highest roll on a single die, plus bonuses, of the players in the fight. Fights don't give special bonuses or more than the minimum points, but you could potentially knock your opponent out of the game if you win. Weapon cards give your character bonuses to all rolls, and some weapons have keywords or specific effects which give even more benefit to certain characters. However, you can only have 1 weapon in play at a time, usually, and whenever you lose a life, you also lose your weapon. Complication cards let you mess with any or all of the other cards. Some complications make plots harder, some easier, some change the kind of plot, some make it fail, some make it succeed. Well, they do all sorts of different things. The main thing to remember is that you can use them to make it easier for you and harder for your opponents to win. If you end a turn with 100 or more points, you win. If you end a turn as the last character standing, you win. If you complete the plot which is your character's winning plot, you win. If you save the Earth, which is a specific plot, you also win.